Good evening and welcome to the Cover One Buffalo podcast. You are joining your host, Greg Tompsett, along with my playoff clinching partner in crime, Aaron Quinn. Aaron, how you doing?
I am, again, I don't want to look at my Apple Watch tonight after the game, but I'm doing a lot better now. I do wish I had a tasty Uncle Jumbo's. I got to link up with those guys and go get myself some Jumbos in the fridge. Although it's a little late for me, but this would be the perfect night for me to be cracking a creamsicle or something in order for this one. So I apologize to the viewers. I continue to let them down. I'm lazy. I don't get out of my house. I have not gone to get any more Jumbos. So I got to go down there and get some from the boys.
Uncle
Jumbo's. There you go.
Delightful.
Enjoy it.
Oh, it's beautiful. You guys are joining us because the Buffalo Bills have clinched a playoff spot and for all intents and purposes clinched the AFC East with a 32-29 victory over the Miami Dolphins in this Week 15 Saturday Night Football special. It was an insane game. It was a really weird swing back and forth with unbelievable momentum. We're going to talk about it as we go through our timeline review here with, feeling like complete control. And then maybe one of the most helpless and worst quarters of the entire season.
Yeah.
And then to stop the bleeding and to come back and find a way to pull out a victory here. Okay. They found a way. They got a W.
Yeah, I mean, this game swung in a big way in favor of Miami.
Right there. Don't care. Let's effing go. Big dubs. They found a way.
It's, they have these cliches and these sayings around the building for a reason because these things are true. Like the game of inches, Josh Allen getting that 2-point conversion. That's a within the margin of half inches.
So you got it by an inch and a half.
These cliches are so true, and how divisional matchups are just so tough. Like this game was absolutely a perfect divisional game, and if anything, to me, this game itself was a barometer for, is this Miami Buffalo rivalry back? Is it real? Is this a real thing? And even though the Bills squeaked this one out, I think it's very much back in business. This was a tight game, actually, and hats off to Miami. Even though
quiz, is this my heart rate monitor, or is this the game win percentage? Which do you think?
That's the game win percentage. And at one point it got up, what was it, 73.9 or something for the Dolphins there in the third quarter? It must have been late third, or no, early fourth.
Not pretty when they at one point had the ball with a 6-point lead, and that was not an enjoyable experience.
No, and I bet your Apple Watch looks very similar to it.
It asked me if I enjoyed my workout.
Yeah, are you out for a walk right now? No, I'm on my couch.
You working out at 11 o'clock at night? But good for you,
Greg. I do think it solidified that this is back to a rivalry, at least for the foreseeable near future. These teams are going to have some crazy barn burner games where you just see heavyweight shots back and forth.
So obviously, tonight, the key difference was their number one playmakers are around their quarterback, and our number one playmaker is our quarterback. And that ended up being the ultimate difference tonight. Josh Allen ends this game 25 of 40 for 304 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, 10 carries for 77 yards. Did get strip sacked once on the one, so he did have 2 fumbles, 1 lost fumble. So certainly wasn't without putting the ball at risk. I don't know that I saw any obvious turnover-worthy throws. I think all of those were pretty clean.
There was that one early Javon Holland. It went a little high for McKenzie. That was probably real early on. I don't think want the ball anywhere near Holland. He can
no. That would
a turnover-worthy
chance. Yeah. I'd be surprised even if the weirdos at PFF try to call that. But guys, we appreciate, there's an awesome amount of super chats coming in. We appreciate you guys. We'll do our best. They'll all be up on screen, and we'll do my best to read all of them. So I appreciate everything that we can. Jason was saying that we have all kinds of evil thoughts by the end of the third quarter, but Josh wouldn't let us down. Now here, Jordan, talking about 3 straight division games. It was huge to be able to do that. By the way, go say hi to my friend Drew Gear over at the Rock Power Report, because if anybody didn't hear, our wager for the stake this year was based on 3 games ago, saying that we would win 4.5 division games plus playoff games, and I now have 3 out of those 4.5 in hand. And if they have the first round bye, that counts. So we are now in position where I'm going to have a delightful steak, and you'll be invited, Aaron, to come watch.
I got the shoes and the coat
steak
for it now and everything. I got all the clothes. It took me that whole day last time. It took me a whole day to round up the clothes just to go eat steak with you guys. And here's the thing. Then Drew brought up today, and then Cody Ford walks in like pajama pants.
Yeah, seriously, had like
stuff. I'm like,
sweatpants on.
What money does for you, right?
Kel here, I think I made up new swear words at one point as things really unraveled, and we'll talk about
Cam Lewis.
Yeah, the Cam Lewis play. I think I said
rocker.
swear words that didn't exist before as they came up here. It was pretty painful.
You guys know how calm I am. That will, when we talk about it, that one put me to my tipping point with this team this year, man.
Oh, so last
Sean,
one here before we get back into things. Sean, that's really generous of you. We appreciate it. I thought it was lost in the third, but the D gave us a chance. Josh Allen continues to prove that we can't ever count this team out. Thank you both for your post game show. Also, that was a catch for a little dirty. We'll get to that. I made a post here that I'm a good example that 1, I knew it wasn't going to get overturned. 2, I truly believe he caught the ball. And 3, when you have an obsessed football fanatic like me who has no idea what a catch is,
none of us
have a problem.
We had the whole Cover One chat at the time, and we all came to the agreement of like, it looks like one to us, but what is it, right? We pointed to numbers of examples where even this year we just don't know what the NFL is going to rule or not. There's not enough clarification on those rules of how it has to be completed, and what you think all growing up is a catch doesn't become one, which is kind of crazy. But Josh, to your point, that's kind of something that we talked about all week was, whoever is going to be the guy that has the ball in their hands the most often is going to be responsible for their team. And in these type of weather conditions, even just the cold, I trust Josh Allen way more. And we saw that bear big time.
Yeah, it's a weird situation to be in when they, back themselves into corner and you need Josh Allen to come save the day. And as Cliff, says here, you can't convince me Allen did not single-handedly will that victory. And it's
Taryn on the defensive side.
We're going to give some flowers to some other people. And let's do one more quick one here before we dive into all of the other pieces. A couple quick things before we go into all the fun. We get questions all the time. We always wait till the end of the show to talk about one pass. I'm not going to do a huge long dive into it. There's a thing in the show description here that talks about how to support us. It would really mean a lot. Anybody who wants to know what I want for Christmas, what you can get Aaron for Christmas, come and sign up for a One Pass membership. All the work that we do, all the memberships that we have, all the things that we go research to be able to give you guys good information to make us sound smart is because people contribute to be able to help us do those things. So we have nice fancy tools to put on the show and to be able to do these things. So anybody that's wanting to know what to get me for Christmas, what I want is for you to sign up for One Pass. It would mean a lot. Thank you. We'll get back to the game.
And those of you that enjoy this live aspect and the chatting and stuff like that, absolutely, the Slack channel, you would love it. If this is the kind of thing for you where you want to interact and chat with Bills fans, come on over to Slack. You'll love it.
It's awesome. So, a couple other things. Huge Dawson Knox game, 6 catches for 98 yards.
Needed it.
Stephon Diggs with some really critical plays. You saw him asking for the ball a couple times. He was probably a little more open and could have used the ball.
Sure.
And then on defense, I think a good overall game. Shaq Lawson flashed early. The defensive line flashed early. Then we had a really rough stretch where I don't know that anybody on the defense played well on a couple of those drives. And then the hard part is you do need to remember, and we'll get to this when we get to our drive of the game, when we get to our, drive-by-drive review here. They came up big late with a bunch of really critical stops after getting punched in the mouth. And they did get punched in the mouth. It's okay to be frustrated during that ugly stretch. Yes. But to have any clue how hard it is to get manhandled the way that they did on those couple drives, to collect yourself, to get your focus on the sideline, and to come out and not just to stop an offense, but to stop a Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Raheem Mostert threatening you on every single snap offense, and to have those stops was huge. So we're not going to praise them as some amazing elite defense tonight. They were not, but they made plays when it mattered.
Yeah, and it's hard in a game like this. Again, there's so many weird things at play. It's a division opponent. It's the second time you're playing in a season. This is a very talented team. I've said it earlier in the week. Like, this is the kind of team that if you if they get going on offense, they can score on any elite defense in the NFL. And Chucky Wookie down here, real quick, was in town. Weren't able to link up. My kids have been sick for months now, and we weren't able to link up. We had sick kids, and my wife, I think, was sick too. And so we didn't end up being able to link up when he was in town. But he's saying now, if the Bills do win the Super Bowl, he's coming back. And wings on me, dude. I will all you can eat wings on me if the Bills win the Super Bowl, Chucky.
So let's dive into our normal review here. We'll go through quarter by quarter, and I'll bring up my game day thread here, which is my favorite part to be able to go up. They start out, and it was pretty much the perfect setup for what you want. And that, we won the toss.
Yeah.
The Bills defer and set up the potential for the double dip. They kick off. I get a little bit nervous because right off the bat, Raheem Mostert rips off a 13-yard run, which I suppose that was
after a big return,
for something that we should have seen. So we got a nice return and a 13-yard run, but then they cold, and then they come up with a way to keep them stop short. They're able to, get the ball back. They cause a 4-and-out, which is kind of rare to get the first down on the first play and then a 3-and-out. So they get a 4-and-out, and they get the ball back, and I'm feeling really good. And then we kind of stub our toe as well. And I felt like that was a chance to really dive out there, and it really muted it a little bit.
Yeah, well, that drive, and this happened to the Bills a number of times, and kind of a weird thing that happened in this game where the DVOA really lied to us in that terms of we talked about the special team split.
Yep.
How that could be really impactful in this game. And this was one of those instances where they pinned him at the 8-yard line on that punt, and it really put the Bills back up against the wall there. But it looked like this drive was going to get going. You had a quick one to Knox to start out this drive for 10 yards. That got him going. And then you had that insane behind the back catch by Diggs where he just grabs it with his fingertips. And that feels like, okay, like Josh is out here dealing tonight. Let's go down and score. And then, like you said, you kind of just stub your toe with a couple incompletions and you end up punting. And it was just like, you felt like, man, everything played kind of to your point, exactly as we wanted to script this game, right? You defer, you get that stop, we get going, but then they stumbled a little bit out of the gate.
Yeah, and then, the Dolphins put together, and again, this will be a foreshadowing for a lot of things. They put together a nice drive. They go down. We end up getting a sack at the exact right moment. Shaq Lawson causing a sack again. The Bills have horrendous
and shout out to
fumble luck here. We continue every fumble that we fumble, they get the ball every time we cause a fumble. We never get it
right into their lap.
Insane. Yeah, directly to them a couple times.
Yeah, on that sack play for Lawson, you see Taron Johnson does not bite that play action fake, and he gets back into zone coverage and takes away. It looked like Tua had a first read, and he was going to that second read, which I think was Waddle, and you see Taron just pop back, and there was nothing, and Tua just freaked out. He paused, he hesitated, and that was too much. Great play by Shaq Lawson there. And I thought this drive, Greg, and I tweeted it out at the moment, this was this play, I think, was like 14 plays, 8 minutes, 52 yards. It took them 8 minutes to move 52 yards, and they ended up with 3 points. I felt like that was a win at that point. It was like, because that was it felt like maybe a bit of a longer drive. When I looked at it, it was only 52 yards, and that took 8 minutes. I'm like, I'll let them do that all day. If that's how they plan to beat this team, go for it. Run it like that all day. Ultimately, they got some passing going, but that drive at that point in the game, I felt big win for the Bills.
Absolutely. And the key was they flipped right around. The Bills come back. They answer with, and you had an awesome tweet about this with, and tonight was a pretty horrible announcing crew that they didn't understand that they didn't understand that the timeouts were gone at the end of the half. Mark Sanchez didn't understand that he was yelling at Devin Singletary for going down at the end of the game.
I know.
We watched
that was
multiple
ridiculous.
other teams score too early and give
literally mighty cocky of them right here. Like,
you're talking to the fan base that got people have screamed 13 seconds at us for 8, 9, 10 straight months.
We're not there yet, though. We're not
come on. We're managing this to have no time left on the clock. They're doing the right thing, and you're criticizing we'll get
the graphics dudes too. Yeah, the broadcast graphics on NFL Network, they did have the timeouts wrong. It was showing. So
we had already taken the third timeout.
Yes, that was gone. And then at one point too, it looked like they had a couple of wrong scores, and their yardage was all off all game. It wasn't not a great performance for NFL Network tonight.
Yeah, and I understand it's their first triple header of the season, so they're spread thin. They don't have their A crew anywhere. They have everybody split out all over the place. And
Josh Allen makes up for it.
Yeah, we have Josh Allen and they don't. So again, you get to the end here. The Bills come back. They put together a quick strike drive, which is great because we got the huge play to Dawson Knox, which was a really impactful play. Goes right back to Devin Singletary. Then boom, hits Quentin Morris. When shout out to Quentin Morris, his first career touchdown in the NFL. Huge play, great catch while in coverage by Javon Holland, who is, for my money, a top 3 safety in the NFL, top 5 at worst. And you're making a clutch catch there.
Absolutely. And leading to that was a fantastic to see from Dawson Knox get a catch and take it with a bunch of yak and stiff arming guys and guys dragging along him for a 45-yard catch, giving you that explosive play right out of the gate to get that drive going. And then ending with Quentin Morris was, in my opinion, what a great drive for the tight end room to see that type of action from your tight ends, because we really need to see Knox going like he did tonight.
Yeah. Shockingly, that drive also had the only 4th down conversion of the game, the only 4th down attempt of the game. The only time any team went for 4th down today was in that drive when they went for it. Raheem Mostert ended up converting it. But again, the bend but don't break style, and this bit them later because they broke several times. But here was a critical stop that they hold up and get back here with answering, with giving it back to the Dolphins. They go back again. The Dolphins are going down. They, get a huge play right off the bat to Raheem Mostert. Go down. Feels like, okay, the dam's going to break. Yeah. They're going to be able to rush in here. Then they get a stop, an incomplete. And somehow on back-to-back drives where it feels like they're kind of controlling things, we hold for another field goal. And all of a sudden it's 7-6 in a game where it kind of feels like we're losing.
They got a lucky drop on that. There was that 3rd and goal, and I think it was like a slant route. And yes, I think so. It was Sherfield or Wilson, one of those guys. And it was just a straight up drop in the end zone. The play before that, there was good coverage, but again, another drop. It was weird because rushing was what was working for the Dolphins, but when they got into the red zone, they went to passing and sort of stalled here in the first couple of drives.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, you're talking Raheem Mostert has 8 carries for 101 yards as they trip over from the first quarter. And for us, for our review here, we're going into the second quarter. As they get into the second quarter there, that's right when he breaks it off there. And all of a sudden they go to the pass and we get lucky with the drops, but 2 long drives, 2 field goals. And, I was saying at that time, 7s are not 3s are going to decide this. And that's really, what they needed to be able to do.
Yeah. And you saw really sort of the frustration of the game, though, for the Bills defense and the tackling, giving up that 68-yard run. The way Mostert came out of this game with that kick return, with that 15-yard run, and then getting that 68-yard explosive, it just felt like one of those games where it was like, man, here they go. Greg, what is it with the Bills where they do a pretty good job for the most part of taking away team strengths, but when a team's struggling at something, there is no team in the league better to come play than the Buffalo Bills. Zach Wilson to get right about something that your team's not doing right. Zach Wilson was playing terrible, and then he comes to Buffalo and has a fantastic game. We see this kind of like weird stuff all the time. It's the Miami run game was having a real hard time struggling, and then they come to Buffalo and boom, they just blow it up. Mostert was having a very explosive game in this one, and then these tackling issues all crept up early in that drive. You started to see the way it was going to go.
Yeah, and we'll get to that as we go forward here. Then the Bills come back right off the bat. We get like a weird, Landon Roberts kind of sniffs out the swing pass to Stephon Diggs for a loss, and then James Cook gets tripped up to bring up 3rd and long, and then James Cook, jumps off sides and was like, oh god, we're gonna give the ball right back to them, and then of course Josh Allen with a freaking laser.
He's an eraser.
Gabe Davis.
He's an absolute eraser. You felt defeated as I did in that moment. I was like, oh man, we're gonna get it back to him, and just Josh Allen just erases mistakes, man.
Yeah, then kind of a cheat code just to have him. Then we actually right here got the one catch to Cole Beasley. I thought he was going to have a little bigger role in the game, and we saw a couple things later where Isaiah McKenzie actually made a to really nice plays. Shout out to him.
Yeah,
but I expected a little more from Cole Beasley because they called him up. I just figured they wouldn't call him up. I can't imagine he played more than 10 snaps tonight.
I didn't see a ton of them. Yeah, no. So yeah, I would be shocked if it was much more than that. But yeah, like you said, hats off to Beasley, man. He made some catches and some moments that he wasn't making last week, and so good for him for working on that and bouncing back.
Yeah, and here was where we started to see Josh play with tempo. And we saw this a couple times during the game. He starts to go no huddle here. After the Beasley catch, he goes back to James Cook. They pick up the first down. He keeps no huddle, goes back for another run for 4 more yards, keeps no huddle, goes right back to an RPO after 2 gives to Cook. He gives a fake this time. He takes it back. He hits Stephon Diggs right in the belly. He hits a quick slant, keeps
Puts
it
him
going.
in the red zone, yeah.
Yeah, then Josh keeps it on the read option to pick up 3 more, just continually going down here. And then this play, Cater Kohu, who is actually a pretty good player, undrafted guy for the Dolphins, who's played his way into a pretty critical role. Guys that we trust on the Dolphins talk about him as like a critical piece for them.
Yeah.
Comes up on 3rd and 1, hits Devin Singletary in the backfield, and just flat out loses that collision. And, Singletary knocks him backwards and goes for the first down. He is going to feel that hit tomorrow.
Oh, absolutely. Man, I'll tell you what, Singletary is sneaky. You look at his stat line, you go look at the box score, right? It's 13 carries, 42 yards, 3.2 in a long of 8. That doesn't look like an impressive box line stat, but I walked away from this game very impressed with Devin Singletary and that this dude's a baller. He is tough in space. He has a low center of gravity. He is hard to take down. He's slippery. Like, the guy's a gamer, man. And when it matters, he's even a gamer. But that was a big one for him. And both of those guys are going to feel that one.
Yeah. Sure. Devin gets the better emotional end of it.
Yes.
Probably physically doesn't.
It will feel good for him. Yeah.
And then fortunately, I think it was one play in between. Josh had to throw it away in a blitz in between there, but then comes back, hits Nyheim Hines on a really nicely designed. It was kind of a check down, not really a screen, but got it out into space. They had to clear out with the other routes, and we see our first really big positive offensive play from Nyheim Hines since picking him up. And here, you're talking both teams have had the ball 3 times. Both teams have had 2 good drives and 1 punt. Both teams scored twice, but the Bills are up 14-6. And just these red zone possessions are critical, and we talk about whether it's, turnover differential, toxic differential with the big plays, or converting in the red zone. That's what decides games like this. And, with some of the injuries that came up later on for the Bills, this was a huge way to be able to stay in that situation.
And it was great to see Hines get that in space play for him to get in the end zone. I think fans have been frustrated with the lack of use for Hines. I have not been one of those people, but it's good to see him get on the board. You know what I mean? Because then that takes some of that pressure off of him and finally get that touch. And it was cool in this game. Later, we got 2 passing touchdowns to running backs. Both Hines and Cooks get a passing touchdown in this game. I think that's something fans want, right? More of that in this offense in the passing game.
So they go here. Now the Dolphins start with the ball. There's about 8 minutes to go. They've been able to kind of survive the last 2 drives, but it's felt like Miami has had something going. Here, they get right back to it. They go with a deep shot to Waddle right off the bat. You get something going where, it was a jump ball over top. You couldn't really blame. I think it was Taron Johnson. There was coverage on that one. You can't really blame him. Mark Sanchez actually pointed out a really great blitz pickup. Milano went on a blitz there, and Mostert upended him on a play where he easily could have gotten home, and instead he gave Tua just enough time to get that play off.
Yeah.
You come right back. Trey bounce right back. That goldfish mindset. You got to a cornerback. You got to move right back after you get beat. Oh no, it must have been Trey White because I made that comment in my game day 3.
Oh, okay, yeah, and
so
that was a
Trey
big one
White
too because it was a 3rd and 5, right? This drive coming up here, you saw again it creeping in. This isn't a 3rd and long, but because of it's 3rd and medium, and you want to see them convert on that, and then they give up the big 34-yard play. It just felt a little bit defeating and kind of like, geez, if it's on Trey, it's like there felt like nothing we can do on these 3rd downs to make stops.
Yeah. And here you see another one where the crowd makes a nice impact here where Miami has to burn a timeout.
Got a couple of those today.
this was also around the time where the crowd made an impact, where they got yelled at for throwing snowballs.
Greg, when that first happened on the first drive down in that red zone, you started to see the snowballs coming down. I was like, all right, that's kind of funny. But then like it became too much. Like the end zone was getting covered. That's not good for the Bills players or the Miami players. I just felt like the fact that they had to get adults, like the thing that bothered me was on the broadcast, they had already made signs in the stadium and put out like notifications in the stadium to tell everyone to stop. Like, let's be adults.
They
guys.
literally had
Just
to
listen.
threaten us with a 15-yard penalty to be able to stop.
Unbelievable. Just stop the first time. Come on. Do better.
Yeah, it was not ideal. We then get, a couple of positive plays. Tyreek Hill barely picks up a first. Milano gets a big stop. Feel like we got something going here. Daquan Jones has a big time tackle for a loss, and I feel like, okay, we're really in good position. And then all of a sudden, Tyreek Hill comes down with actually a catch that Kyrie Elam had really good coverage. He was right there, had his hand on the ball with Tyreek Hill. I thought Elam flashed well several times today, so I'm kind of hopeful that this film goes well for him and gives him a chance to continue to get more reps. But then Miami punches it in. Pretty terrible missed tackle from Damar Hamlin. And we see, I think it's Salvon Ahmed, who's their backup running back, who punches it in after Raheem Mostert was giving us the business most of the time.
It really was. But that was an explosive run from him and a real tough punch. And it just, again, it felt like this Bills team was just less physical at this moment in this game. And I didn't expect that, the way this run defense has held up so far this year. What I saw from Miami going into this game, and Miami just came out with, I think they really were planning for the game to be much more snowy, to be a game where they had to play in the elements. And I think they just came in with a physical mindset to, hey, if we're going to do this, this is how we have to do it. And at times it worked. Yeah.
It was a pretty significant, shift in, I think, what everyone expected versus what we actually saw. I certainly was included in that. I think a lot of people were preparing for it. I joked during the week a lot that, like, hey, I don't think it's really going to be like that. And then shout out to my weather nerd friend RBH. He's always talking in DMs. He was the one telling me, like, hey, watch late third quarter, early fourth quarter. It looks like it's actually going to hit us. And he was spot on. He was spot on in when it actually hit us. But we had 3 quarters of really clean.
Real clean,
football here. So now we get into a spot where, okay, the Dolphins answered back. It's 14-13. Really feels like they kind of regained momentum. It feels like they've kind of played better in this first half at this point. But we have the ball, and now we're at a spot where, okay, we have almost 3 minutes left, just under 3 minutes left, and we have a chance to go down and double dip. We have a chance to go down and score to end the half, and a chance to get the ball coming back out. And the Bills put together a really nice drive. They go right down, Josh, has to pick up a couple here. We see them start to run back and forth, get a couple things going. Here, I actually got a question on this online, so I want to take a minute to explain it. You had Josh hurry up and get to about 9.5 yards on the one scramble on the quarterback draw.
Yep.
He goes and the Bills substitute, and then he runs up to the line of scrimmage, and you see the referee stand in and stop Josh from snapping the ball.
Right.
A lot of fans were mad, and you saw Josh get frustrated. When the offense substitutes, you have to give the defense an opportunity to also substitute. So, I think that it was a running play. They were trying to get back to the huddle. Maybe they changed the play and the Bills changed their mind late. So Josh was in the mindset of, hey, I'm running hurry up offense here and trying to get back to the line. But they had substituted. Once the offense puts guys in, you have to give the defense an opportunity to do that, even if it's going to cause you to have a delay of game, which it was going to. So the Bills had to burn a timeout. It's frustrating, but it's actually, technically a mistake by the Bills to put themselves in that position because you're not allowed to snap the ball. So for the fans who are mad at the ref, like, they did it right. The Bills technically, either shouldn't have substituted or should have done it sooner if you were going to do that, because you have to give the defense a chance.
I think the only frustration I had briefly was, man, the Patriots used to always get away with that. Yeah. Why can't we just get away with it? But the refs did do exactly the right thing, because I was
more recently, unfortunately.
You have to do that. Otherwise, that would have been a huge problem.
So Then they line back up. You get the perfectly executed quarterback sneak where Dawson Knox pushes Josh Allen from behind. They pick up like 3 yards on it here.
Comes up to the 2-minute warning after that.
Yep, that takes them right to the 2-minute warning. Then you get a quick play action fake on first down that hits Stephon Diggs. They keep up with that tempo. They go to Dawson Knox, who gets out of bounds, stops the clock. That's really nice. And then here we get a couple. Dawson Knox after a nice catch, and he had a good game overall.
He had a really nice game. This was not his best moments. Yeah,
right here has a drop. We end up, luckily are okay. Singletary picks it up on the first down. Yeah. We hurry up to the line, and then Dawson Knox has another drop on a play that would have been a nice shot play here. So back to back, 2 out of like 3 snaps, you get a drop from Dawson Knox. And it hurts.
Luckily, it doesn't end up mattering, but those could have been significant drops because those were keeping this drive moving. And then Singletary, then another one, nice run for him that gets the Bills right into that field goal range line with about 50 seconds left. Like, this drive is really, obviously in hindsight, it doesn't go for the drive of the game, but at this point, like in my notes, I have like setting up for drive of the game potential. The way you're at 50 seconds left and you're just entering field goal range, you're controlling everything exactly as you're intending to in this pressure moment, and it gets even better.
Yeah, and here you get then Knox gets held, so you get a flag. Then Josh gets Miami to jump. He gets a free play. He doesn't actually convert, but takes a shot to Diggs, and it doesn't get connected. But now we're down to 17 seconds. Now we take a shot to James Cook in the right side of the end zone, 12 seconds. Now we go back to Gabe Davis, who gets interference. They actually end up calling it not interference, but holding. So then it's 5 yards.
It was holding, yep.
They come back up, and this,
this is not your Uncle Jumbo's responsible play of the game. This is Kobe time, baby. Kobe.
Thank God we have Josh Allen, because he scrambles. We have 8 seconds left. I'll give Mark Sanchez credit on this one. He was pretty horrendous most of the game, but he was pretty spot on in this one. Josh, in this situation, you have 8 seconds. Most first read 3-step drop passes can be executed in 5 to 6 seconds.
Yeah.
That's what you're running here. You get your first read, you fire it, you either get a touchdown, or you put it into the dirt or out of the end zone, and you kick the field goal and you get free points. So,
but not us.
That's not what we do. We have Josh Allen. Josh Allen scrambles, rolls out, keeps going, is about to get hit by Bradley Chubb. I swear Bradley Chubb's about to sack him. And just like last week, kind of looks back a little bit and finds James Cook for a touchdown as time expires to end the half, literally with zeros on the clock. So if we don't,
the rims lit up red.
Yeah, this is nothing. We get no points here.
No.
And somehow we walk away 21-13 and winning a half by 8 points that we were not the better team in that half.
No, this was absolute Kobe time. Totally irresponsible. Works out exactly as we intended it to. Fantastic stuff. But this is a reminder when this happens, hopefully not in a big moment, when these types of things happen and they turn into those interceptions that we saw early in the year, we have to remind ourselves that it comes with this. Also, like Josh Allen can make these plays that he's made now back-to-back weeks in the red zone where he's able to do these types of things. It's unbelievable. It's one of two. He and Mahomes are the only guys making these plays in the whole NFL.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. So
his first half stats too were just like off the chain. He had like 217 yards. It was the fantasy points was like 24 fantasy points in some spots in the first half. Unbelievable for Josh.
Yeah. So here I'm going to pause for a moment because we have a wonderful, I think I see 1,151 people in here watching right now. I need everyone to stop and to go and press the like button. Help me out. Press the like button. I'll wait a minute. I'm going to get a drink. While I get a drink, you stop what you're doing. Go out and press the like button. It's going to tell other people about the show, and then we'll come back and enjoy. Hold on. That was good. I'm going to get an extra sip on Uncle Jumbo's.
I have that good,
delightful
North Towns public water.
Oh, that's great.
Good stuff.
Yeah, and anybody who presses it twice, you're my favorite person. Our man Mike Thomas in here, he's gonna be so proud of me. I did the cover one pass
already did it
earlier. You're gonna be so proud of me. I did it early in the show. So now we're getting into the third quarter here. We open up. This was an opportunity to completely take control of this game. You just got out of a half where, you got maybe not outplayed because they scored 3 touchdowns, but at minimum, it was equal. Both teams scored 3 times, and you somehow came out of it 21-13 when it was a pretty evenly played first half. So an 8-point lead was a huge advantage. Okay, we got a huge opportunity here. I am a huge advocate of the double dip. I go on and on and on about it.
It's my favorite thing about football.
And I won't lie, I pretty much missed the entire first half because Dolphins coach Mike McDaniel gave the most incoherent sideline interview I've ever seen in my life.
Dude,
he made no sense for like 7 consecutive sentences of complete football nonsense that made no sense.
He does this a lot more than people want to give him credit for. Sometimes he just says things and buzzwords in succession until somebody stops him. But this one was particularly bad. And Bree, one of the founders of the Mafia, who we've fought with at times on Twitter, made a great point of like, it kind of plays into his whole, like, I'm not trying to talk about the weather. And he was like out there with his sweatshirt on. And I felt like he was like clinched up, like trying to be a tough guy. Like, this isn't bothering me at all. And I can just be a regular human being and talk about things. And he was all in his head.
He got lost like 3 different times.
Yeah.
And would just started rambling and like didn't finish a sentence and then kind of had another thought and had another separate thing. So unfortunately, while that was going on, the Bills ran 3 plays. We got 9 yards on the first play. It looked really great. It was a nice little check down to Devin Singletary. And it was a really good play because we ran it out of our jumbo set and it was really smart play action. Went right back to Devin Singletary. Got to 3rd and 1. Then all of a sudden, Hart, who was on the play for the first one, got blown up by Zach Seiler. And Singletary gets dropped for a 3-yard loss. And then we have an incompletion. And all of a sudden it's,
where'd the double dip go?
When I was just making fun of Mike McDaniel and we're supposed to double dip and we don't have the ball. And what the hell?
Into the half with the Bills scoring 2 touchdowns in that second quarter, you really just felt momentum. Like, all right, we got this double dip. We're going to go down. The way Josh was moving the ball forward.
If we go 28-13 there, it's so demoralizing. Like before they touch the ball again, it's so demoralizing.
Yeah, you wrap this game up with stuff like that and able to give the Miami Dolphins a chance, man. And that's all you need with a good football team. It's still a good football team. If you give them a chance to stay in the game, you do it here. On this next drive, I thought was interesting. So late in that second half, we did see Kyrie Elam finally start to get in. It took him a little bit while to get going in this game and get those reps. It looked like Dane got the first few drives for the Bills defense, and Kyrie gets in here. But they go back to Dane in this. And so you started to see, okay, this is how they're going to manage this platooning
2-on-2 off
going forward. Yeah. And so interesting to see. That's definitely probably one of the things I've got noted to go back and watch is the comparisons of how those things look.
Yeah. So here it was another one where, Daquan Jones blows up the first down play and somehow Raheem Mostert still gets 6 yards. Like,
unbelievable.
Daquan Jones blows his guy back, like makes Mostert make a cut like 4 yards in the backfield. And then he moves 10 more yards. Like, he's so explosive. That dude is so fast. It's crazy. Then Shaq Lawson gets his hands up he has a free rush where they did a pretty good job on the game, being able to kind of talk about how the line shifted. Shaq Lawson wasn't gonna get there in time, so he gets his hands up, almost comes up with one of those like JJ Watt jump up interception balls, but tips it. And okay, we got him a 3rd and long or 3rd and medium. We're in pretty good shape, and now all of a sudden, Jalen Waddle over the top on this explosive play. I'm going to need Eric on this play. Like, he already talked about this, obviously a blown coverage. The announcing team was pretty good about showing Tremaine Edmonds picked something out beforehand, saw a tendency, was yelling to get back. I thought he was yelling at Jordan Poyer. Some people thought he was yelling at Damar Hamlin. We'll go back and watch. He's yelling to get back, get back. And then all of a sudden, you see Jalen Waddle come on the crosser exactly where Tremaine Edmonds is yelling. He goes in front of Damar Hamlin and behind Jordan Poyer, catches it. And when a guy like that catches the ball in full speed, no angle matters. There's no angle that matters when a guy like Waddle or Tyreek Hill catches the ball at full speed. He's gone. And he was. And all of a sudden, boom, I did 67-yard touchdown. And all of a sudden, luckily they went for 2 and didn't get it. So it wasn't completely gone, but it was like, oh, well, look, instead of a double dip, now it's 21-19, and they're right back in this game.
Yeah, 67-yard plays, man, are backbreaking no matter where they come from or how they come. And this is what the issue for the Miami Dolphins playing against a team like the Miami Dolphins is no matter how they look or how you feel you're stopping them, and you felt like they were really leaning into the run. And even in the DM chats, Eric and I were kind of like, yeah, invite that run, let them run the clock out and have time of possession and go down the field and continue to get field goals. We did not want to see them open up like this. And I don't know who's to blame. Obviously on the broadcast, it looks very Damar Hamlin heavy on the blame there. In terms of once Waddle catches that ball, it doesn't matter what angle he's taken. He's not the athlete to get him in space. I do think there was probably a deep third safety that was probably also supposed to be in that area. That wasn't. It was supposed to look like a cover 3 look, and somebody else is also supposed to be back there in that deep third. So not sure what happened there. We didn't get a good look, but doesn't look great.
A lot of misses like that from Poe, so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. My first thought was that it was on Poyer. But again, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt because normally
it should have been if it was.
He's not, but that's a play we're going to be breaking down afterwards.
Yeah, and if it's a cover 3, that other deep third should probably be one of those outside corners. I don't know who was on that side at the time, but anyways, that's one of them. Sure, will be looked at a ton here throughout the week, but not an ideal play. You can't give up 67 yards, especially this defense has really hung its hat on not giving up those big explosive plays in the pass game, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And then, so here, okay, all right, we gave up a big play, but okay, we got to get a chance here. I think that was where I might have also made up a new swear word. Comes right back, Josh runs a quarterback draw and like delivers the blow to Javon Holland. Just unbelievable. I was just shocked Javon Holland actually left the first half with a neck injury, so glad he was healthy. He's an exciting player to watch. I don't love him playing great against the Bills, but it's good to watch exciting young players and here then you see an unbelievable play from Josh Allen where he's rolling out like off balance to the left, kind of flicks his wrist and gets the ball to Dawson Knox. I have no idea. It probably should include Patrick Mahomes. I have no idea how many humans can make that play.
It was like crazy. A botched snap too. He took that snap out, not correct, and that there was a ton of pressure in his face. And he's just leaning back, and it's just on a rope. Not a lot of guys, like you said. Mahomes probably the only other guy that can do that. Here, huge disaster maybe for the Bills in this game. It felt like it at the time. This is right at the same time where Mitch Morse heads over to the locker room. I think on the next play.
It was actually, I was told it was on the Josh Allen run when he hit Javon Holland the first play, like the play before this Dawson Knox one, because
I thought,
when they did the replay and showed the weird snap, the reason it was a weird snap,
it was because Morse was out,
is it was Greg Van Roten's first snap of the game, and that it was a new guy snapping the ball to Josh Allen, and I was like, as soon as they showed that, I was like, wait, why is 75 snapping the ball to Josh? And then, unfortunately, you hear Mitch Morse to the locker room with a potential head injury later on in the game. It was confirmed that he's out with a concussion. A player that had a really dangerous stretch with that earlier in his career. We've been really fortunate the last couple of years. We haven't seen one in 2 full seasons. He's had a really good stretch, but obviously, thinking of the best for Mitch and hoping there, but it's completely unknown when we're going to see him again. We've seen guys clear the concussion protocol, but people with a history like this, it's completely unknown. We won't know when we'll get him back. So we'll talk about some of those things in our preview matchup on where those get into. We won't speculate on it tonight. But they'll have to prepare as though probably Ryan Bates, now Ike Bacher coming back, may matter a lot more than what we thought it would. So we'll see where those things go, whether it's Ryan Bates moving over if he comes back, Greg Van Roten at center, Ike Bacher back in the mix. But Mitch Morse has been a phenomenal player, has probably been our best offensive lineman all season. And besides that is a great human being who's been a really good person to deal with. So this kind of stuff is really scary.
He's the absolute best. He's
cool to us at Cover One as well.
Very cool to us here. He's a great interview. He's such a cool guy. And you really see it sucks in the NFL sometimes how you see somebody's value when they're not there. Right. And I think in this game, you really saw Mitch Morse's value to this team. Late in the game, the offensive line did pretty well picking it up on that last drive, but you really see the Bills offense start to struggle as soon as Mitch Morse goes out of this game. And it became really stagnant, and they really struggled to move the ball. And I think that was a big kind of a, hey, you don't know what you got till it's gone. When Mitch Morse steps off the field, there's a huge drop off for the Buffalo Bills right now.
So I'm not going to spend a ton more time on that tonight because obviously we have no idea what it's going to end up looking like. But unfortunately,
impact on this one, yeah,
it had a huge impact here because we saw what it does when you have a strong defensive line like the Miami Dolphins did, and now you have a reshuffled. Things can get better when you have time to prepare afterwards.
Yeah.
But in game, when you lose a guy, this is really impactful because you were already without Ryan Bates.
Especially with how much Morse does with Josh. Like you see him really pointing a lot of the stuff out, setting the line, and you saw a lot of weird after Morse went out. You saw right after he went out, you saw the Saffold false start on the 3rd and 12 that pushes that back to a 3rd and
17.
Third and 17. And you saw a couple of those types of weird things where it's just like a communication was off or something was off along the offensive line. And like you said, if needed and they're going to go without him, a week of practice will help some of that stuff. But in the moment, definitely hurt.
Yeah. So we'll see
where that goes.
Yeah, we'll see where that goes. But obviously, back into the game here, they had a chance to kind of, get things back right. But as you touched on, we actually saw Stephon Diggs get tackled kind of weird and a hip pointer. And I was like, oh my God, did we just lose Mitch Morse and Stephon Diggs right in a row? He actually stayed in the game the next play. So it didn't seem to be an actual concern. But go back, the penalty puts them back. They take a deep shot to Isaiah McKenzie, actually almost had a shot at a really big play here. And then end up having a punt, Sam Martin puts him inside the 11, but
that would have been, even if he gets that catch, it would have been a tough catch, and Saffold gets called with a holding anyways. It would have
negated it, even if he came up with a really impressive play.
Exactly.
So now you're talking, okay, so the Bills didn't double dip. They gave up a huge explosive play. Now they turned right around, had an injury to the center, gave the ball right back to them. I won't lie, at this moment, I was in a really low point emotionally, psychologically. Mitch Morse is one of my favorite players on this team. I was just in a real funk of where they were at. And here is one of the plays or one of the moments where I think it's important not to wrap everything up in the game as, the defense was crap the entire time. Because this is a really critical spot where they come in. This is a spot where it could have really gotten away from them, and they needed to bow up and be able to come up with something here. We see, a couple tough plays. Dane Jackson gets called for illegal contact on Tyreek Hill. It wasn't terrible, but he did technically make contact at the top of the stem of the, as he tries to cut. So it's Tyreek Hill that's going to happen.
Sure.
But then DeMar comes right back up here after having a rough play earlier in the game, makes a really, positive run stuff. We get, Tua kind of spins out from Boogie Basham and
luckily falls.
Very luckily falls. And then they go for a quick conversion, and Trey White almost jumps the route and gets a huge stop.
Great play by Trey.
Yeah, and Trey had a couple of those coming up here where he wasn't perfect, but we saw more of the real Trey White tonight than we did last week.
Absolutely, for sure. He got beat for sure on a ball for a couple of them, but you saw more of the old Trey White, and this is exactly what the Bills have needed in that cornerback room is guys that are making plays in big money downs. 3rd and 2 is a big money down, and the Bills haven't had that guy that's getting in there and making those plays. So good on him. It was great to see, and he made a number of them in this game.
Yeah. So, here is one where, of course, the Bills, got the big stop when they needed. They're going to come right back and get a score.
They get pinned again.
Unfortunately, they get pinned right back. They get an amazing punt. And this one, you could see Nyheim Hines. I think there was a couple plays tonight that Nyheim Hines on special teams was not ideal.
Had
a moment here where he should have come up and caught it. It was in traffic, so I get it, but you could see him really frustrated with himself. It bounces. It probably costs him about 15 more yards. It bounces at about the 15-yard line, and it bounces to where they get to down it at the 2. And he actually downed it at the 1. We probably got lucky.
We
They
did
moved
get a
him
little
out to the
lucky
2. So then we, run the jumbo set. We get 1 yard. Then they actually do the jumbo set again and try to take a deep shot and almost hit it with Gabe Davis. This is kind of, maybe we were trying to go for another 97-yard touchdown here. And then, Josh actually has a shot here. Javon Holland comes up and makes an ankle tackle. That
what
if
a
he
crazy
does,
play
Josh
by
has
Holland.
a really aggressive gamble, and he gets Josh by the ankle. If he doesn't get Josh there, or if Josh steps through it like he does many times, there was so much green grass in front of him.
You don't see a lot of guys. We saw the Jets defender a week ago make that play, but or a couple weeks ago make that play. You don't see a lot of guys chase Josh Allen down in that way on those thirds and stuff like that. So fantastic. But Holland is a player as we prepare for these games, dude. He just blasts off the tape. He is a super impressive athlete. So good on him. Not a lot of guys can do that. So congratulations, Javon Holland.
Yeah, good for him. And huge opportunity there where we could have been able to do something here, but instead we give Miami the ball at midfield. And this is, a super impactful spot where, you need to come up with a play. The Dolphins have a chance to be able to take the lead, but you need the defense to be able to step up. Right off the bat, you get Matt Milano and Daquan Jones just completely blowing a play apart for an immediate easy sack on a great blitz call. Where they're there, I don't know who they credited it to between the two of them, but they were both right there for it.
And up until that point, Milano had a little bit of a rough day. Those linebackers were having a rough day in the run.
By Raheem Mostert.
They were getting stuck on blocks, so it was good to see him get out there and make a big play when he needed it.
Yeah, it looks like the official one. They split it between the two of them, so they both kind of got credit.
Hey, congrats to everybody.
And then you see a check down to Tyreek Hill with good rally and tackle. It's always scary when he gets the ball in space at all. Huge stand by the Bills defense, feeling really good. Okay, we're in great shop here. They put us in position. The defense answered. Really proud of them. And then you and I are both really level-headed and reasonable about calling people bums or that they're trash or that, hey, you should get released for things like that. Cam Lewis makes one of the most egregious mistakes I can remember. He comes around the edge. He's not close to blocking the punt.
Yeah.
Takes 2 more steps directly into Thomas Morstead and tackles him and gives the Dolphins 15 yards for a completely accurately called roughing the kicker, and gives a free first down, which is a turnover. We had the ball. Nyheim Hines had just fair caught it at the 10.
Yep.
We were going to have the ball at the 10-yard, maybe 11. Gives the ball back to the Dolphins.
Plus 15 yards.
It was unconscionable.
It puts them pretty much in the red zone, right?
At that point. A guy that is a borderline roster player as it is, you just gave them the ball at the 35-yard line. And, there are plays where you can excuse it. If he's like diving, already going for the ball, and you get the carry through where you just missed the block and you hit a guy, he had to take 2 more steps.
That'll be normally running, and that wouldn't have been a first down. Been the 5, running into you get that, and that's okay. We can live with that. This is egregious. This is and here's the problem for Cam Lewis is man, I don't like to speak ill about players. I don't want to say anything. He's not a good enough player to be able to afford to have mistakes like this. Like, you can live with Dane Jackson giving up receptions and keep him as a cornerback 3-4 rotating platoon guy. Like, we can live with that. He makes enough other
when you're already
opportunities. Yeah. When you're a guy that's fighting for that game day active roster spot, and you are continuously making the wrong play in the big moments of games, that becomes a pattern. We talked about it with Isaiah McKenzie. Like, eventually when these guys tell you kind of who they are and what they do in these moments, you got to believe them. I'm not totally saying Cam Lewis is there yet, and maybe he can redeem, but when you're at the bottom of an NFL roster, man, you don't get a whole lot of chances to do it. And if it was me, I don't think I would trust them in some of these big situations where you need to have your head on of what situation in the game you're in. This stand was at the moment, again, was, hey, consideration for drive of the game with how big of a stand it was to get the ball back in that moment. And he absolutely blew it. And I don't even care everything else that happened afterwards, because they get in the red zone, and then you get a dime where Trey White gets beat by Tyreek Hill, and DeMar Hamlin's not there for safety help, and it's a 20-yard touchdown. I'm not even mad at anything that happened after that. The defense thought they made the stop. You got to drag them out onto the field. They're going to give up something at that point, man.
Yeah, I'm not going to keep pounding on, but 2 comments here. So the one here, and somebody else brought it up as well. So those are 2 huge moments. You go back to the Minnesota game,
the Minnesota
catch
game,
that Justin Jefferson makes, where all he has to do is volleyball spike it down and not go for the interception, where he ends up helping Justin Jefferson catch the ball. And here, where he wasn't even close to blocking the punt and takes 2 more steps and goes through. Those split-second critical decision moments where you have to wonder, hey, in the split second where it's not a coach in your ear reminding you before the play, hey, make sure you don't do the really stupid thing, where he had that split-second decision, the 2 times where we could have trusted him, he made not only mistakes, like horrendous game-changing mistakes in those moments. So again, we don't do this often. I'm not going to keep going and dragging this guy. He's a hardworking guy from UB who's tried to make the roster. Good for him. That's awesome. This sucks when you're that guy who's an undrafted free agent clinging to the roster, and you've gotten these 2 shots. You can't miss like this, unfortunately.
Two last points on it, because I got a lot of people in my mentions talking about coaching. They're saying that this was coaching, and that's furthest from the truth. In that split second, that is on the player 100%. The coaches could tell them till they're blue in the face. These guys got to make those plays when it matters. And the other thing for me with this is, the reason I can say get this guy out of here is because Dean Marlowe's on this roster. Yeah. You can swap this out. Dean Marlowe's a totally fine special teams player. Yep. He can be a totally fine 3rd rotational safety. That's what you brought him in for. Let's just do it. We can't have a guy that is making the mistakes in these big moments, because this was if the Bills lose this game, I'm pinning it on a Cam Lewis moment like this.
Yeah. Hey, Yegs is watching us on Twitch. Hey, what's going on, Twitch? Nice to see you.
What's up, Twitch?
So here, of course, they go back. They go right down and score. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I guess I would like for the defense to make a play here, but you were just off the field. You now have to hurry up and go get your helmet back and hurry up and get back on the field and try to figure out what's going on.
And Trey had a really good game. Otherwise, I'm not going to get mad at him for getting beat off the line of scrimmage by Tyreek.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill beats him off the line, gets a touchdown. Tyreek Hill's the fastest player.
He does that.
That stuff's going to happen.
That's what that's his thing.
You're not going to shut him down for 0. For anybody who watched the game against the Chargers, sometimes he just picks up the ball from the ground and runs for 60 yards for a touchdown, because he's just faster than everyone else on the field. Yeah. Super weird. So here, all of a sudden, now I talked about before where Mitch Morrison had gone out. Yeah. I thought Stephon Diggs was hurt, and then we go 3 and out, and I'm like, oh man, this is terrible. And I thought it was a really low moment. After that happens, and Cam Lewis has the penalty, and we then give up the lead, and it's now 26-21. I'm apoplectic. I'm just sitting there dumbfounded, staring at my TV by myself in my basement, and just sitting there. Oh my God. I can't believe we just threw up on ourselves. What is going on?
I felt so terrible because I have to do a graphic for this show midway through the game in the 3rd quarter. And sometimes it's hard to find images. So I'm looking for images. Yeah. And the image that I had was somebody lifting up, and it looked celebratory in victory. So I sent that over around halftime, and I said, unless this totally falls apart, kind of here's the graphic. And at this point, I went and started looking up other images to be more relevant for the game. I was like, I'm
going to have to go get a Tyreek Hill image, or
this is my fault. I didn't even want to tell anyone that I have to make graphics for the game, because it feels like jinxing. And in that moment, I was like, oh my God, I made a huge mistake of putting that graphic together. But hey, and we all make mistakes, and we live and we learn. But yeah, no, I was right there with you in this moment. And me, man, I don't get super emotional in the games like this. But and here's the problem. as well, dude, it gets a little bit worse before it gets better here. You have this drive coming up and they're getting going. You have that McKenzie crazy catch that looks like a catch, but again,
Yeah,
you and I
I
don't
won't go
have
down
any idea of what a catch is or isn't in the NFL.
Yeah, I won't go down this rabbit hole again.
No.
But so here, just like the last time, okay, all right, we're down really bad, but we're getting the ball back.
We
If
can
we
get
put together
this.
a score here, we're going to be okay. And all of a sudden, we get down, and we get an incompletion. Josh is getting pressured because the line is, the backup makeshift line.
And great.
And now we take a shot to Isaiah McKenzie, which could have been a huge play, would have been about a 35-yard play, and McKenzie, again, I get it. I didn't expect it to be overturned. When I saw it, I get how they're handling these things now. I wasn't,
Yeah.
I didn't have wishful thinking of where it was, but it's stupid that when he caught that ball, his hand was under it. He rolled over. His other hand was
Knees
under
are in
it.
the ground.
The ball, it shifts the one time as it goes from his right hand to his left hand. It's not, it's not caught because it touched the ground. It did happen to touch the ground during that transition. But if a receiver has his knees down and his hands under the ball and maintains possession the whole time, it's a catch. And I want to give credit to I love the guys on the Ringer Fantasy Show, Danny Heifetz and Danny Kelly. I shout them out on Twitter all the time, and I've become friends with them and talk to them in DMs all the time. They had a great one that said, the NFL has so many passionate fans. You could just have a 3-man fan committee of, is it a catch? And in 10 seconds, they're only allowed to look at the replay 3 times. And if you have to look a 4th time, it stands. But in 3 seconds, you look at it like, hey, is it a catch? And it's a 2 out of 3 vote. And boom, you move on. And it would be so much simpler than what we do now. It's insane.
What's wild to me is that so many people can watch it and intuitively disagree with the outcome because the way the rule is written tells me that there's a problem with the rule.
Yes. So I'm not arguing that it should have been a catch. It shouldn't.
Right,
I
no.
understand today's rule. I did not expect it to be overturned.
Right.
It's stupid that I didn't expect that. And he did catch the ball.
Yeah.
He
That we've
caught the
gotten to
ball.
this point where guys can make legitimate catches and it can be overturned because the way the rule is written.
Correct. That's stupid.
Yeah,
but anyways, it wasn't. And then that gives us 3rd and 10. Josh actually takes another shot to Stephon
Wide
Diggs,
open.
who
Diggs
roasts his guy. It
so
would have
open.
been a touchdown.
This would have been the Waddle play for the Bills.
Oh, yeah.
He had nobody around him for 7-8 yards of space.
Yeah, he might not have scored, but could have. If he makes one juke, he scores.
Yeah.
But it would have been like a 40-yard pass.
Yeah.
So here, I mentioned earlier, I thought I was down bad. And then it got worse.
Way worse.
And then I thought I was down bad. And then watching, oh my God, that was the play that would have got us back into this game. And now we're giving them back the ball when they're already up by 5 points. And
the clock's ticking.
wonderful.
You're coming to the end of the 3rd quarter here. Like this is at the end of the 3rd quarter, and you're feeling like your back's up at the wall a little bit, right? You're only going to have 2 more possessions in the next quarter, and you haven't done anything with any of them in the 3rd, so you're not feeling great about what you're going to be able to do with them. And your defense now, here's the problem: is early in the game, the defense gave up quite a bit. Your defense has made a couple stands back to back. They've gotten you opportunities. And this feels reminiscent of games that they've lost this year, where even when the defense had given up large runs or whatever it was, at some point in the second half, they gave the offense opportunities to get back in the game, and the offense continued to give the ball back. This felt trendy in that direction. And luckily they were able to turn around and have a very good 4th quarter. But man, at this moment, heading into the 4th, not feeling great.
Yeah. So as Aaron said, this takes us into the 4th quarter. The Dolphins have the ball. We give it back to them. They actually, get 7 yards right off the bat to Alec Ingold, and they make that little joke about Tremaine Edmonds, not wanting to give him a high five. Edmonds comes back and stuffs Mostert on the next play. We actually get a really nice play. Taron Johnson almost flips this game. Is like,
what a play either way.
Second. Yeah. Oh yeah, awesome play. And it was on 3rd down, so it ended up being a turnover, kind of play
worthy
anyways.
Play, right?
But almost
been
has a pick and would have been, obviously here you would have literally taken the lead back.
Yeah.
Then we get a huge favor because Thomas Morstead's a good punter. He has a horrible punt, 33-yard punt that
really only bad
backwards.
Special teams play for them for the day.
Yeah, they actually have been phenomenal.
Yeah.
It bounces back. We get the ball at the 50, and now it's like, okay, we're going to be able to get this. Josh drops back. He's looking downfield. And this was one where, unfortunately, the fans could watch it coming the entire time, and you can see that Josh can't see it, and you're sitting there going, through the red wall, and like you wanting to will him to throw the ball because Jalen Phillips coming from the blind side is, ultimately going to get there. And of course, we joked about it earlier. And the reason we're joking about this, there's actually been some analytics going around that shows like a combination of fumble recovery, missed field goals, and injury luck. Like the things that, like, whether the other kicker makes a field goal has almost nothing to do with your team. Whether your team recovers a fumble, forcing fumbles, or not fumbling the ball, 100% matters. But once an oblong leather ball bounces around on grass, who recovers it is pure luck. Like that's not a skill. So who recovers a fumble from what's there? The Bills are the worst in the NFL. The Bills have the worst like fumble luck in the NFL, and it continued today. Jalen Phillips knocks it down. It immediately goes into Christian Wilkins' hands, and he immediately recovers it. And
I was
now
terrified watching Josh cock back on that too.
Yeah.
That strip sack was another one of those cock back ones.
Been that UCL injury.
And it just, I didn't love the way that fell, the way that pocket was collapsing, and just sick to my stomach watching that go down for Josh.
So in the same moment as the strip sack happened is when the Bills announced that Mitch Morse had a concussion and was out for the rest of the game. So I prefaced this earlier. There were 3 other times that I thought I was down as bad as I was going to get in this game. We just got the stop that we needed, got a horrible punt from them, had the ball at midfield, and in seconds, Josh Allen gets stripped, almost gets his elbow ripped off. Ball goes to the Dolphins. The Bills announce that Mitch Morse is out with a concussion. And now I'm sitting there and just, this is it. There's the rest of our season. Everything's done.
Yeah, because you're already in field goal range. Miami's already in field goal range. Their winning percentage goes up to almost 80% here.
This is the 76% win percentage moment.
Yeah.
When the Dolphins have the ball here. And here, I want to give a shout out. This is one where it's not my West Herr drive of the game, but a shout out to the defense you could have given here.
Yeah.
The Dolphins get the ball in Bill's territory. They're at the 47-yard line. Right off the bat, Raheem Mostert 11 yards, another 6 yards. Tua throws it for 3 yards, gets right there, and they try to do a little fancy play, and Taron Johnson gets Durham Smythe for a 2-yard loss where they don't even really have a choice to go for it on 4th down. And the way they had been running the ball here, if it was 4th and inches, they run the ball again.
Oh, yeah.
And keep that going here. And holding them to a field goal here where you keep it a 1-possession game to keep it 29-21 is that bend but don't break survival mode that you're in against these explosive teams, and was absolutely what the team needed in that moment.
I cannot believe in some of the biggest moments in this game, Mike McDaniel went away from running the football.
Raheem Mostert was killing us.
I'm confident they could pick up a 3rd and 1, right? Even Singletary was getting these like 3rd and 1s in this game.
17 carries for 136 yards, 8 yards a carry, and they only gave him the ball 17 times, and they had the lead.
And in some big moments, like early in the game, you're down in the red zone and you go away from them. And in a moment like this, you're a 3rd and 1, and this defense has already gotten 3 stops now on you, and you're in field goal range, but you want to be aggressive and put Buffalo out of this game. Kind of shocked they didn't do anything different, and it was like one of those weird long developing tight end leak plays which allowed Taron to just come up, read it, and it was like a 3-4 yard loss. Fantastic stuff by Taron, really single-handedly on this defense in those last 2 drives, trying to keep them in it. Had a great game for him.
So here the Bills get the ball back, and it's not my West Herr drive of the game because I think the one that seals it is here, but certainly is
fantastic,
eligible for West Herr drive of the game territory. Although right off the bat, Josh Allen almost gives the ball right back to the Bills. So they're starting out here.
Our fumble luck turned.
Yes, we finally got one here. We are now in kind of do or die mode. We're down by 8 with getting the ball with 11 minutes to go. And the Bills go on a 7-play, 75-yard touchdown drive, rattle off 3 straight runs, where all of them were like screw this, I'm running up the middle every single play, basically. Like Josh runs it himself, fumbles, and Spencer Brown recovers it. Nice give inside to James Cook.
Yeah.
And then Josh Allen rattles off a run here.
Unbelievable.
It was
second longest. They said second longest of his career. I tweeted out, dude. I think when the next gen stats or whatever, the Amazon Prime stats, I think they're going to see him north of 20 miles per hour. He got going on
full
that.
speed. This was as fast as Josh Allen can possibly run. I'm super curious to see what speed he hit when that comes out.
He was hauling on this one, man. And this is how you're able, though, to take a 7-play drive in this moment.
Great call. Our dude Chris Chouse, who does fantasy commentary, unicorn mode.
It really was, man. When he turned the corner on that thing, and he was hauling as fast as I've ever seen him. But that's how you're able to do a 75-yard drive, 7-play 75-yard drive in 3 minutes, and give yourself time to really do what they had to do in this game.
Yeah, it ended up being phenomenal. So you have that. Then Josh goes right back to it and runs again for 5 yards here. And here you see Josh. They do the kind of telegraphed play that most of us can see coming. Thankfully, the defense can't in those moments. But every time they do overload to the right side with trips to the right side with the tight end, and it's to the short side of the field, and they're leaving the wide side of the field open. It's like, oh, hey, guys, they're going to run quarterback power to the other side. And they did, but Josh had plenty of room here. And then I don't know if he baited Elandon Roberts into this or whether he just sold him as he got hit. But both things are kind of possible, but Josh is running smartly. Plenty of times Josh would have tried to cut back and try for every extra
put his shoulder down.
So that's the thing that makes me wonder, did he sell this?
Is it the responsible play of the game?
I like it. You want to know what? It wasn't.
Let's do it.
It is. This is the Uncle Jumbo's responsible play of the game. Josh decides not to completely go for the end zone or hurdle or try to jump over somebody. He ends up stepping out of bounds early. He steps out of bounds and is out of bounds. So it was a split second, but it was accurate. His foot touched out of bounds, and then Elandon Roberts hit him, and then he sold it and fell back and flopped back and got the 15-yard penalty. And then all of our offensive linemen went to destroy Elandon Roberts. It was great.
It's not a flop. You're bringing attention to it to make sure that the ref sees that you're doing it. Like he legitimately hit him.
He did get hit.
He got hit out of bounds. It was a penalty, and he just needed to let the official know that it happened. There's nothing wrong with that.
I want to make sure to bring this to your attention.
Yeah. Did you see this? Did you see what happened to me?
Did you see what happened? That's great. So fortunately, they did make that call, and then I actually might go back and try to do this. He doesn't realize that his linemen are defending his honor behind him, and he ends up getting up like the action hero in a movie that's walking away from the explosion where they like don't react and everything is going crazy behind him, and he just gets off and like casually swaggers back to the huddle, and then he's like, oh, sorry, were you guys fighting on my behalf? Thanks.
You guys fighting over me?
It was fantastic. So then Josh comes back to the huddle. We get first down there. Stephon Diggs just barely misses an awesome toe drag swag touchdown that would have been great in the back of the end zone. Josh keeps it and gets down to third and goal, where Mark Sanchez, again, I'll give him credit because he sucked most of the rest of the broadcast, pointed out that one Josh got a little excited and should have given the ball to Motor. Instead, he kept it. And then here we see him scramble around, and he finds Dawson Knox for a touchdown.
Dime. Oh, the velocity on that ball, the way it just snapped in there, like it doesn't look like much in terms of like where he threw the ball from, but replay that one back and an absolute dime from Josh to knock on that, capping off a great night for Dawson.
Yeah, this whole drive also was where the weather started to turn.
Yes.
So now
the
lake effect snow started coming like crazy. Yeah. Everything starts coming down. And I'm almost to the point where like, oh my God, thank God we got that drive in there before this got too crazy in case it goes really sideways. And then we go, rightfully, we're down 8, so we have to go for 2. The Bills go for 2. They run kind of a read option style play. Josh keeps it, dives over the the pile, extends the ball, and then it gets knocked loose, and you see this crazy scramble.
It ends up
and
at like the 50.
the ball literally goes all the way back to midfield, and I think Isaiah McKenzie falls on it or something. And then they go to commercial. And I was like, wait,
unbelievable.
What? Like,
at least they could have gone to like the split screen commercial where
something.
you like can keep watching replays and see the challenges.
I'm literally like screaming in all caps on my thread, like, show the replay. He was in. Like, it looked at least really close that he was going to be in, but it looked like he was in real time. And like, what horrendous television production, like an enormous game impacting scoring play. And you cut to a commercial, and then it comes back and they show, and it ended up, he extended the ball over. And when I say he scored by this much before the ball got knocked loose, I mean like 1 inch.
Yeah.
The ball broke the plane. The ball broke the plane. He got it over the line, and then it got knocked loose. And that's why they tell you not to extend the ball out like that, because it's easy to knock it loose when you're in that, vulnerable extended position. But if you get the ball over,
the time to do it's there.
Yes,
that's the only time you can
moment
do it.
to do it. So then, fortunately, they correctly, fix the play. Bill Vinovich comes on, says that the try is good, puts his hands up. Everybody loses their mind.
And doesn't it feel so serendipitous as the snow is just coming down, and you could hear the roar of the crowd as the snow's coming in, and they're playing Let It Snow, almost taunting the Miami Dolphins. Like, it was really coming down thick at that moment. And where like Josh is like squinting through, trying to like see through stuff. Like, it almost felt like it just dialed up just at the right time when the Bills needed it. And really like the cavalry had come in to seal the win.
Well, and obviously in this moment, I'm feeling really good. Okay, we got it back. We got this tied.
We're tied up.
The weather's going crazy. We're the better team here. We're going to be able to get this figured out.
Still got time to make a stop.
Yes. So but the Dolphins get the ball back here. It's 9 minutes left. Like, there's a lot of time left here, and it's okay. We got to get a stop here. And right off the bat, 13 yards to Tyreek Hill, and then a shot play to Cedric Wilson where he goes up and makes
throw too.
Really, honestly, probably the most impressive play of the day from Tua. Like, I don't know
in the snow.
Yeah, like I guess his throw to Jalen Waddle was, on the money, but Waddle was wide open, so he just lofted it to him. This was a tough play while he's about to take a hit and lays it in there to Cedric Wilson. He gets rid of the ball really quickly here and lofts it over there, and Cedric Wilson goes up and takes the ball off of Taron Johnson's helmet to make a catch. And now all of a sudden it's 13 yards, 21 yards, and they're at the Bills 41, and it's like, oh my God, what did we just do? We had everything here. How are we going to be able to give this away? And then boom, you have Greg Rousseau makes a tackle for only 1 yard. Then you have Kyer Elam almost makes a pick here.
He might have been.
This
tie goes to the offense.
But he certainly had the ball at one point here, and Tyreek Hill had shared possession goes to the offense. But it's still a 3-yard loss because Kyer Elam read the fact it was going to be a screen, made the play and pounced on it, and was able to knock that down. And then you get incompletion where they try to go to Jalen Waddle, and they had an illegal shift anyways. And now all of a sudden it's, oh my gosh, I can't believe we were able to get a stop here. Yeah. They're at the 43. It would have been a 60-yard field goal. Jason Sanders isn't that great of a kicker anymore. He's really gone downhill this season in anything 50 plus. So they weren't going to attempt a 60-yarder with the rain or the snow coming down. They punt and get us at the 7-yard line.
I was going to say they pin him again. Like, I feel like in the game, I do understand that Miami probably still felt okay here. They've been pinning the Bills, and the Bills haven't been able to do too much when they get pinned back like that. Luckily, Josh Allen turns it on when it's needed most, man. And I knew we were coming to it at the same time here. It has to be this drive. Before we get into it, it also could have been the responsible play of the game at the same time, just because we've seen the Bills mismanage end of game time and things like that. And this was just chef's kiss, perfectly put away, leading into our show drive for tonight.
So we'll go through a couple of things here, but for the people who try to pretend to be experts at home on coaching and things like that, this is a picture perfect game ending 4-minute drill offense. Picture perfect, like absolute perfection, the way that they manage this and were able to get it down And even at the end, we'll talk about it the last couple of plays, why it was perfect and what they did and why they've learned from the ending against KC last year. So the Bills get the ball here. They have 5 minutes and 56 seconds left. The Bills are about to go on a 15-play, 86-yard, 5-minute and 56-second game-winning drive where the Miami Dolphins never see the ball again. The Bills simply keep the ball
Just go
for the rest
forward.
of the game.
One negative
forward, one negative play right off the bat.
Yeah.
Going forward and end up being able to seal this game. And it's perfect in the way that
it's unbelievable. It is unbelievable, man.
The one thing, it starts a little rough. Nyheim Hines has to jump up and catch the ball off his helmet. And in this kind of position, it's a gamble. But a lot of times they tell you when you're at like the 5 or 6 yard line, if it's going to go over your head, let it go. Because if it bounces, it's likely going to go in the end zone. And that's hard to stop it with that sharp of a bounce that at that point. Like you down them when they start bouncing at the 10 or 15 or 12. So he probably should have let it go and we could have started at the 20. Yeah. But he catches it barely, and we start the ball at the 6 yard line. We barely get it rolling. The very first play, we get a nice chunk. Josh hits Gabe Davis. We get 14 yards. We get a little breathing room, feeling pretty good about it. Then Zach Seiler again with all the talent on the front seven for the Dolphins. They got Christian Wilkins, Jalen Phillips, Melvin Ingram, Bradley Chubb. I heard, but Jalen Phillips had the one huge play.
He did have the big play, yeah.
Zach Seiler had a better game than Melvin Ingram or Bradley Chubb did the entire game. It's crazy.
Welcome to the NFL, man.
Yeah, good for him. On top of the fact he got held, I'm pretty sure. So we get sacked. Now it's 2nd and 18. We're back at the 13 again.
Josh is the eraser.
Josh goes right back to Gabe Davis.
What a dime, too. Just
gorgeous.
On a rope, through the snow, cutting through the snow, on a rope where nobody can get it. Just a nice, safe play.
15 yards to get it back to third manageable. Yeah. They go right back. I see Stephon Diggs coming in motion, and you see him going across the middle, and you can see Josh waiting the split second to let him clear, and then it's open. Hits Diggs on the crosser, gets the first down. Quick give to Motor, goes for 2 yards. Then a huge catch here from Isaiah McKenzie. And I want to give credit to Isaiah McKenzie because we've been harsh on him a couple times here. In a spot like this, where it's genuinely hard to see the ball. Like when that much snow is coming down, and he was over towards the sideline, and Josh is back in the pocket and makes a pass, and it doesn't seem that difficult. Like that's hard to even see the ball in that spot. Makes a huge catch there, gets us in position, big first down conversion.
Yeah, it was like a Beasley type catch.
Yeah, seriously, it really was. And now they're in a position where now the run game's working a little bit. So the whole time they've been working the clock here, they give to Devin Singletary. We get 8 yards. We're sitting at 2nd and 2. We're all the way down to the 2-minute drill.
This is where we're at.
So now they're in a position where, okay, we've got things rolling. We get to the 2-minute 2-minute warning. We're at the Miami 45. We have 2 timeouts left, and it's a tie game. We're in great shape, but you can't kick a long field goal here. So they got to keep getting yards. You can't just be able to, milk it and only run the clock because you're not close enough for a long field goal. So now you give
50 seconds at midfield, like you're controlling, you're exactly where you need to be.
Everything is on the table.
Everything's
2 timeouts. Everything is on the table. You are in control of this game. They go 7 yards to Motor here again with a give. They let the clock keep running. They take their time. They get up to the line. Now you give another give to Devin Singletary. First down, boom, you get up there. Now you're at 2nd down at the 34. Here they go again with the RPO. They act like they're going to give to Singletary for a 3rd straight time. They pull it back, and they try to hit the kill shot to Stephon Diggs. And again, you're going to keep hearing this name for a decade, just like we talked about with Stephon Gilmore and Quinnen Williams. Javon Holland jumps up, tips the ball away, and knocks away a pass that I think Stephon Diggs might have scored. If he catches that, the DB was behind him, it would have been a foot race, and he would have had to catch him or dive and swipe his ankle to be able to hit it. Otherwise, Diggs might have scored here.
He's so good, yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic. And then again, we gave him credit for the play here. Isaiah McKenzie, in my opinion, probably makes the best play he's made as a Buffalo Bill so far. Maybe one of the plays in the big Patriots game where he had his big explosive play.
Sure.
They go deep to Isaiah McKenzie. He makes, just
Goes
like
to make
you
a play
talked
on
about
him.
with Josh, does the exact right thing, fights through the defender. Keely Kehu, who again is a very good player, going to have a good career, never turns around and looks,
Runs
face
through him.
guards. Yeah,
Yep.
face guards McKenzie. McKenzie jumps through him to try to go back towards the ball to make a play, makes it an obvious, easy play where they get to throw the flag, and ends up being the huge chunk play that they need, because I think it ends up being for 21 yards, 21-yard
It was,
defense pass interference down to the
It puts
13.
him in the red zone.
Yeah.
This absolutely sort of sealed it, right? Because you're in like the 30-second range here, and you still have the timeout.
Now
still
you're
have the
there at 39 seconds. So that one got it down to, because it stops the clock on a penalty. So
Right.
that was at 50 seconds. You then run the one play, gets to 39 seconds. So now you give a play, Singletary gets 2 yards, you're down to the 11. Miami takes a timeout. Now they're in the huddle talking, hey, there's 39 seconds left. We only have one timeout.
We're in the red zone.
We're in the, you're the 11-yard line.
Yeah.
This is where they're talking in the huddle saying, hey, we have to let them score.
Don't listen to Mark Sanchez.
Good Lord.
That's what they're saying.
So
Mark Sanchez
they're in that moment saying, hey, well, and he even catches himself after he stumbles through and says, yeah, I think Miami would have been better off letting him score.
Yes, later. Yeah.
Well, then no crap. Why are you giving Singletary a hard time for going down, you idiot? If it's what they want him to do, then you shouldn't do that.
Correct.
So again, they give to Singletary. He starts to break up the middle. The C's part, and good on him that it's not easy to catch yourself in the moment, especially
Cam Lewis. Ask Cam Lewis how easy it is to catch yourself in the moment.
Catch yourself in the moment. And even with Mark Sanchez's initial instinct to react to it, saying, hey, why didn't he score? You can win the game. This isn't milk the clock time. Well, look at that game between the Browns and the Jets earlier this year. When you go through there, Nick Chubb had a chance to go down and seal the game, and instead scored because he thought going up by 2 touchdowns was enough. And the Jets end up coming back and winning that game, because take the sure thing. Take the sure thing. Don't go for it. So here, Devin Singletary goes down.
That's exactly Devin Singletary. We've heard this, Greg, for 2-3 years. Whenever it's a lull in the running game and the beat starts asking about Devin Singletary, Sean McDermott, Brandon Beane, Josh Allen, they rave about him just knowing what to do, where to be, doing all the right things. You saw him chip block a dude to the ground. Like, he just does the little things that don't show up in the box score for what kind of a game he had, especially on this last drive. And this was the play of the game for him, for sure.
Oh, it's phenomenal. So, and again, rightfully so, because Sean McDermott and Ken Dorsey in this offense knew exactly how to salt this game away.
Yeah.
They go, and I think a lot of people here would have said, hey, why don't you try to run it in? Well, you want to know what can happen when you try to run it in? One, you can score too soon, because there was 31 seconds left at this point.
Tyreek Hill is the guy on the
Tyreek Hill. Right? You do not give any seconds to Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. 0 seconds. That's how many seconds you give Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. A lot of people would have been like, yeah, no, I don't know. Try to punch it in, see what you can do. The Dolphins were going to let them score. So instead, Josh Allen lines up. He has 3 guys behind him in a safety prevent formation, takes this shotgun snap, takes a second, takes a knee. They let the clock run down to 2 seconds. They line up. Tyler Bass stripes the game-winning field goal. Zeros on the clock. Win.
4 years.
5 minutes.
Playoffs in a row.
Oh, 4 years in the playoffs in a row. 4 years double digits in a row. They end this game on a 15-play, 86-yard, 5-minute and 50-second drive where the Miami Dolphins never touch the ball again. And the Bills choose how they want to win the game because they had all of their options available to them, because their quarterback and their head coach managed it perfectly down to the second. That's all you can ask of teams, is to learn from those difficult situations and do the right thing next time. This is not the only time we've done this year, where we have now managed the game perfectly down to the end to win as time expired, and they did it again.
Yeah, and we've seen them do this with a Devin Singletary-led backfield in previous years too. This is the thing that, Greg, whenever people say the one, Achilles of the Buffalo Bills is their inability to get anything going on the ground game, and they don't have a ground game, and like, I honestly don't care about it until the 4-minute drive. Like, I don't need a super efficient ground game outside of the stuff Josh brings to it and getting James Cook a few looks and getting that going a little bit. I don't need a lot. But in these situations where I need to milk a drive, I need to be able to rely on a Devin Singletary to get 5-6 yards of carry and just keep moving everything forward. And that's exactly what he does whenever these situations are brought out. And it shows that when needed, they have the versatility to do it. And that's ultimately all that matters, is that you can pull it out in these situations. I don't need it all the time.
Yeah, crazy. Our man CJ22 here asking, Josh has 705 yards on the season. Will he get to 1,000? No, he's not going to get.
He's not going to get
100 yards in each game for the next 3 games. But it's insane that that's a question that someone can even ask, to wonder that. And shout out our guy Pat Moran here watching with us, saying Mackenzie not only drew that PI, also caught the 5-yard pass. That's when I talked about going through the snow, how hard that was here. Responsible for 2 huge third down conversions on that final drive. Shout out to him. A huge game.
Yeah.
Huge game.
It made the fact that Beasley wasn't in those situations, he made that feel okay, because he was the one making those plays. What I will say, though, about that PI, and I don't even care if people get mad for me talking about this, that the NFL's got to figure out a way to change underthrown ball PI calls.
True.
It presents itself so many times. That's a hard one to play. I'm glad it went in the Bills' favor. It is by the rule. It's another one like catches that is exactly how the rule is intended for it to be. But I have a huge problem with underthrown balls. There's really no good way. Everyone says
you should weaponize it.
Yes. Way. Yeah. I don't think that was the intention here, but we have seen quarterback Tom Brady did it for years, where we would just weaponize that underthrow.
Yeah. So, ultimately, we'll see where things go. A couple injuries.
They almost got to the 35 points for you. You almost got the dunk on me.
Almost. It is. Believe me, that second half was not the ending that I thought we were in for.
I thought we were going to roll for like a 45-point game.
Oh, 20 when it was 21-13.
thought we were rolling, Greg.
I thought we were coming to just a pure celebration here of just boat racing them through the second half. But again,
still
they found a way to win.
Game.
They found a way to win. The Buffalo Bills have now won 5 straight games. They've won 3 straight division games. They have guaranteed another week as locked in as the number 1 seed.
Yep.
They're going to head into a Saturday game against, at the Chicago Bears, where
God bless them.
I have to assume they're going to be double-digit favorites.
Bears are pretty busted right now.
In a rough spot here. And then they're going to get a nice 9-day break going from a Saturday game to a Monday night game in week 17
Celebrate
against
Christmas
the Cincinnati
with their families,
Bengals.
Hang out.
Oh, it's going to be wonderful. I actually am super excited. Christmas Eve is my favorite day of the year. It's all of my family all together. We're all going to watch this game together. It's going to be fantastic. So the Buffalo Bills are now going to walk into their heavy favorites. I'm not going to assume anything. They need to show up and win and do all the right things.
For sure. Yeah.
But now setting up what will be a huge battle to lock up that number 1 seed at the Cincinnati Bengals on Monday Night Football in week 17 is going to be huge. You guys have been awesome tonight. The chat, we still have 1,200 people in here watching with us.
Thank you guys so much.
Insane. Just absolutely amazing. We love you guys so much. For anyone who hasn't had a chance yet, I ask you genuinely, please go and press the like button. It's how you tell other people about the show. It's just the way YouTube's algorithm works.
Tomorrow morning, other people will see it because you liked it.
Correct. I hate begging for this, but it really is what helps us out. Other people are able to do there. And just one more for my man, Mike, that will yell at me if I don't do this. If you want to figure out a way to help us out, the best way to help us out is to sign up as a OnePass member. So you want to know what to get Aaron and I for Christmas? We want you to get us a OnePass membership. You get a t-shirt, you get a decal, you get access to the Slack channel. You get I did an entire Cover One, Salary 101 series on there that only OnePass members get. Eric did an awesome glossary on all the crazy glossary terms that they use in scouting. We're going to do a bunch of other cool stuff that only OnePass members are going to get. So if you want to help us out in the way that you want to be able to do, or you just want to be good to us and be able to do something nice for us, this is what we want for Christmas, is to come in and for you to sign up for OnePass. That would mean the world. Any final things for the people, Aaron? This has been awesome. We've been talking for an hour and a half. This is amazing.
It's crazy. I just realized what time it is. 1:30. What the hell? Thank God it's Saturday night and
Victory Sunday.
The Victory
Sunday's
Sunday,
a
and I
new
don't
one.
have to rush my kids to school. on a Monday morning. So that's all right. No, man, nothing except for, enjoy this. I'm really excited for this upcoming week. It's crunch time and Christmas in my house. I got a bunch of Christmas movies I'm behind on. And the Bears are a good week for it. Not that I'm taking it lightly, but I know the Bears pretty well. My brother will be on the show here with us on Wednesday night. So that's
awesome.
exciting. Get a little bit of a family fair here. You get to be stuck with us. That's most people do not want to be stuck in a room with the two of us. So I applaud you allowing that. But no, other than that, I just hope everybody enjoys this lead up to the holiday season here. And the fact that the Bills are in this spot, really trending in the right direction at the right time, stacking wins, doing all the right things. And still, there's a lot of meat on the bone for them. They haven't played their best game yet. This is all good things heading into the holiday season. Couldn't be happier.
Yeah, a couple questions here. Some people had asked, "Oh, what was that $57? Is that monthly?" If you want
For
to
the
give me $57 monthly, absolutely,
You can be a
do
super
that.
follower. Greg takes super followers.
Yeah, unfortunately, for me, it's a great deal. It's only and Glenn did the math for us here. It's only $4.75 a month.
Yeah.
So you can pay for it all at once. It's $57 for the year. It covers you all the way through. So if you sign up right now, it'll actually carry you all the way through to next year's playoff run to be able to be good to go. So it's fantastic. You're able to go through. And look, Zach, everyone told him that he looks great in his one pass shirt. It's a really nice shirt.
My man.
So ultimately, we're really excited here. This has been a ton of fun. We'll go through and tomorrow get to enjoy a stress-free day of football, rooting for things that will lock up the division and lock up other fun things as we go forward. Who will root for the Chiefs to lose and other teams to lose to help with our run for things. But we appreciate you guys so much. This has been awesome. Thank you to our awesome producer, Chris Kepner, who's been the one bringing up all your comments here and everything there. He is awesome behind the scenes, being able to get everything
not always
set
behind
up
the
here.
scenes. Catch him on the spaces every week with me.
Check it out. We'll be doing it. Maybe we might sneak into spaces tomorrow. We'll see how things are going. But we'll see some more of that here this week. We're getting into the holidays, so schedules are a little bit wonky as we go forward here. But make sure you're checking out all the content all across the channel, everything that's here. We appreciate you guys so much. The chat was awesome tonight. You guys are amazing. But on behalf of Aaron Quinn, I am Greg Tompsett. You've been listening to Cover One Buffalo, and we are out.